Okay, so this is our first grammar video. We're going to talk about sentence structure, simple subjects, and simple predicates. And we're going to be in Study Sync. So you all have a lesson you should have clicked on, and you should be following along while you take notes. So we're going to begin with the Define tab. So you're going to click on Define, and it's going to give you this lovely chart that has simple subject, it has the term, an image, and the meaning. And so we're going to talk a little bit about it. So our first term is simple subject. And if you look at the example, it says, my cousin Wallace visits Yellowstone each summer. Okay? The meaning of the simple subject is the main word or group of words in a sentence that tells us what or whom the subject is about. So if you look, they highlighted the word Wallace. Wallace is a noun, and if you remember from the other day, we talked about nouns and pronouns. Nouns are words that name a person, a place, a thing, or an idea. So they're going to tell you who or what is doing something in the sentence or what it's about. Or, which they didn't show you in this example, but there's also pronouns, which are like he, she, or they. Okay, so simple subject, Wallace is our example. It is the main word or group of words that tell us what or whom the sentence is about. Okay, then we have our other part of our sentence, which is the predicate. The simple predicate, if you look at your example, my cousin Wallace visits Yellowstone each summer. Okay, visits is what Wallace is doing. It's our verb. So if you look at the meaning, the main verb in a sentence that tells us what the subject is or does. In this case, visits is an action verb, okay? But you can also have state of being verbs or linking verbs, which are like am, is, are, was, or were. But for today, we're focusing on action verbs. Okay. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. If you need to rewind and go back, and make sure that you are listening to this as well as watching the video when you're taking notes, because there are some important things you need to include. I would suggest taking notes and putting in your notebook. A noun is a word that names a person, place, thing, or idea. A pronoun is a word that replaces a noun, and put he, she, give an example so you know what it is. Okay? They talked about the verb in the definition, in the meaning, but I would also write verb is a word that names an action or describes something, tells us something about the person, the place, or the thing or idea. Okay, so if there aren't any further questions, we're going to go on to the model tab. So everybody's going to click. And in this tab, what it does is it gives you some further description about your subject and your predicate. So in the model, it says every sentence has two parts, a subject and a predicate. Okay? The subject part of the sentence names whom or what the subject is about. The predicate part of a sentence tells what the subject does or has. It can also describe what the subject is like. So it depends on, if you remember, if it's an action verb, it's something we're doing, something you can see someone do, like talking or walking or shooting a basket. Okay? A linking verb is a little bit more challenging because it's abstract. It's telling us something about the person, the place, or the thing or idea. So like, remember my example from the other day, I am short. Am is a verb, but it's not something that I can demonstrate. If I say I am short, it's something that you see about me. It's a characteristic or a trait. So with saying that, if you look in our box, we have as I sat there. This is like an introductory clause or a positive. And then we have our comma, and then our actual subject is I. And if you remember, I is a noun or pronoun. It's a pronoun. It's taken the place of a noun. And our predicate is a short phrase, and it starts with a verb. So try not to think about what might happen. Okay? Tried is what I's doing. It's our verb of the sentence. Okay? And then they gave you another example of a subject, because remember they said a subject can be a word or a group of words. So in this case, it's Rosa Parks' My Story. So it's the title of a book. Okay. The simple subject is the main word or group of words in a sentence that tells us what or whom the sentence is about. The simple predicate is the main verb in a sentence, and that tells us what the subject is or does. So they gave you two more examples right down here at the bottom. In desperation, two physicians. Physicians are the people who we're talking about. And what did they do? Sent for an esteemed colleague, Dr. Benjamin Rush. So we can actually demonstrate sending someone to get someone else, right? So this is an action verb again, okay? And then, they gave us another example of a group of words. An American Plague, the true and terrifying story of yellow fever. Here's another title that we can use. So you can either have one word or a group of words for your subject, okay? Now, with a simple predicate, you're going to have one verb, and it's going to either be an action verb or a linking verb. But the examples that they've given us so far, sent is an action verb, tried is an action verb. Okay, so if you don't have any questions and you've gotten your notes taken, then you can move on to the your turn. Okay, your turn is where you're going to do some practice, and there's 3 different parts. Okay, the first part is they're going to ask you some questions, and all you're going to do is tell us if it's a subject, a predicate, or neither. So, like for example, the noise of the thunder scared the children. They bolded the word noise, and you have to decide which one of the 3 it is and click on it. And you're going to do that for 1 through 6. Okay? When you finish with question 1, you're going to go on to question 2. In this section, you're going to replace the bold words with a simple subject. Now, you got to remember what simple subject is. Look at your notes, and it's either who or what the sentence is about, or it's what that person, that place, or that thing is doing or being described. So you got to look and see what's the simple subject in this first one. In the second one, it's asking you to replace the bold words like produce great treasures with a simple predicate, and you pick one of your 4 choices. Okay? Or if you think there's no change that needs to be made, you click on no change. Same for number 1. Okay? Number 3, they're asking you to replace the bold words with a simple predicate. So you have to choose if you need to use one of these 3 choices or no change. And you're going to do that for 1 through 4. Okay? When you finish with question 2, you're going to go on to question 3. Okay? And if you notice, it's kind of building. We started out and they're having you select, just identify what the subject or the predicate is. Then you have to work on replacing it. Now you're going to create a new sentence. So they're building you up level-wise. Okay, so for question 3, it says, read each sample sentence and direct below. In the 3rd column, write your own sentence that follows the direction. The first example has been done for you. So you have a sample sentence. You have directions, whether to replace the simple subject, replace the simple predicate, replace the simple subject and predicate at the bottom. So you're replacing both. Okay? It gives you the directions. Then in this last column, this is where you're going to type in your sentence. Okay? So the example they gave us, the sample sentence, the tall blonde woman at the window waved to the children below. Okay? Then it's asking us to replace the simple subject. So we got to think, okay, simple subject. It's who or what the sentence is about, or who's doing something in the sentence. So woman is our subject, right? So we go over here, and the sentence that they corrected was, they changed it from the tall blonde woman to the tall blonde man at the window waved to the children below. Same sentence, all we did was, same predicate, all we did was change the simple subject. So we changed one word. We changed woman to man. Okay? So in the next one that you're going to actually do, the bolt of lightning immediately scared the swimmers in the water. Okay? You're going to first have to decide what the simple subject is, and then you're going to replace that simple subject, type your sentence in the last blue box. Okay? If you have any questions while you're working on the Your Turn section, please come see me. Okay? And please Don't be afraid to rewind the video and double check and listen. And make sure that you listen, don't just look at the video, okay?